The benefits you outlined are certainly very exciting, but why Profibus?
Raphael, yes. Okay, let me explain what else is in the market and then we can decide about Profibus. The very first digital communication, bidirectional, relatively open, was called HART, which stands for Highway Addressable Remote Transducer. What that did not do is provide a network where instruments could be connected to. So we had intelligent communication with instruments, but it was point to point. So you had to have one cable for every single instrument, and the technology was particularly slow. But it did, I guess, highlight the fact that the concept of having digital communication had a lot of benefits. And the HART technology has been around for probably 30 years. And today, almost every device you buy has HART built in. It doesn't cost any more, it's built in. Does everybody use it? The answer is no, not yet. People have got this technology, but a bit like the Fieldbus as we discussed earlier, people haven't yet fully derived the benefits of it. So there's been that in the process side of it, in the factory automation side, with actuator sensor interfaces, with DeviceNet, once again, with the digital and binary data going backwards and forwards. That has been going quite a long time, but each one has been vendor specific and probably not open. If they'd made it open, then I think we would have had at least one flavor instead of 20, and probably one standard for the digital stuff as well.
Yes.
There are different flavors of Profibus, and that I think is one of the strengths. We haven't tried to make one Profibus technology fit all applications. So at the bottom end, we've got Profibus PA, which stands for Process Automation, which is exactly what I'm talking about. In process, in chemical treatment plants, and so on, is where you'll find Profibus PA. It replaces the old 4-20. Sitting on top of Profibus PA is Profibus DP, which stands for Distributed Periphery, which is really, I guess, bits and bytes. It connects together all masters. That's all PLCs, all controllers, SCADA packages, HMI, even Ethernet interfaces are connected at Profibus DP level. But Profibus DP is a high-speed data highway with no power on it. So to satisfy the requirements of the field, what we do is we take a subset of that, which is Profibus PA, and we can then go into the field, into hazardous areas, in loop-powered applications and connect devices together. The ASI sensor interface, which is for the digital, also connects directly into Profibus DP. So that means that Profibus itself has got a really good family, and the new member of that is called Profinet, which is then an industrial Ethernet. And the nice thing about that is that Profibus DP then goes directly into Profinet, and I think going forward, in fact, we will go from Profibus PA directly into Profinet, which then gives us an Ethernet gateway to all other tools that are being used in a typical today business where you've got Ethernet as your backbone for data. So Profibus then has been quite clever by creating this little family of different buses to satisfy different aspects of industry. The only competitor that competes with Profibus PA, where the biggest usage is called Foundation Fieldbus. Now, Foundation Fieldbus only started about 15 years after Profibus was already going, so it's relatively new in the field and has some really good theoretical benefits and, I guess, technologies which Profibus doesn't have. On the one hand, it allows us to have distributed power, so and distributed control. So it's a bit like the world of DCSs, where you have all your intelligence out in the field, and not a Profibus, which is really a master-slave kind of structure in terms of how the data goes backwards and forwards. But the benefits of being able to get the power and the control into the field also adds complexity and cost. And for that reason, the uptake of Foundation Fieldbus has been a bit slower than what was originally envisaged. It is really quite smart, but it is very complex to set up and needs to have fully qualified people who are fully trained to be able to control a plant. The other aspect is, and this is really a bit of a cultural thing, is that Profibus is viewed to be a bit Eurocentric. It certainly has its technical hub in Germany, and I guess there's a view that says Foundation Fieldbus comes from America, very much from the oil and gas business, and therefore these two do compete in the market. both from a cultural point of view and from their source industries. Fieldbus Foundation has not created a family of different kind of buses to link into it. It doesn't have an answer to the digital requirements of the manufacturing world. And it doesn't today have a really neat pathway into the Ethernet world. It's coming, but it's not there yet. So Foundation Fieldbus is a little bit more limited. It's newer. It has its roots also with the same heart technology because it comes from the same part of the world. And the reason that Profibus dominates is that it's been around longer, it's simpler, and it really does have this family that links together so nicely and neatly that for the end user, it's absolutely transparent as to which flavor of Profibus he's using, whereas in the Fieldbus Foundation world, it's not so transparent. So going forward, I continue to believe that there will be these 2 field buses in the process world. There will continue to be 2 or 3 buses in the digital world, and there will be an industrial Ethernet standard coming up. But I don't believe we will ever get one flavor of all these buses. But certainly today, by far, Profibus is the dominant player.
What has been the uptake of Profibus in Australia?
What has been a surprise for us as a Profibus association is that for a country like Australia, which are proud to be early adopters of modern technology as individuals, and I think there's no doubt about that, whether we've got iPod 4Gs already in our pockets, anything that's new technology, the average Australian really absorbs and gets involved. But when it comes to actual running plants, then a far more conservative approach kicks in. And I've really been surprised as to how late Australia has been to accept the whole technology of Fieldbus. Having said that, in the last 5 years, we have seen the growth of Profibus installations in this country starting to really blossom. And all new capital projects are typically Fieldbus based, the majority of which are Profibus based. So in the industries today which are, I guess, have capital expenditure, like water treatment, desalination plants, sewage treatment plants, all being upgraded countrywide because of the sea change and people drifting into the, I guess, out of the outback close to the coast. It means that all these facilities, all this infrastructure needs to be upgraded, it needs to be expanded, it needs to be made bigger. And there we are seeing Profibus as becoming the standard. Mining, similarly, also in the pharmaceutical business. New pharmaceutical plants that are being built in the country, also the Profibus technology has been the technology of choice. But we're really talking about only the last 5 years. So in a lot of other countries where field buses have been around for over 20 years, we really are still babes in the wood. But it's developing nicely, and I've got to say that the installed base of Profibus in Australia is starting to become quite impressive, and that is leading the association to a point where we can really start to structure the infrastructure we've got as an association to provide the necessary training, support and development of new products in Australia. And I'm pleased to say that we are starting even to have Profibus instrument development in this country. So in summary, we are late adopters, but right now it's really starting to speed up, and we see Profibus as being by far the biggest technology that's going to be accepted into the automation marketplace.